Ever face someone seething with anger, unjustly blaming you, or caught in a misunderstanding? The knee-jerk reaction might be to match their fury with your own, but what if there's a smarter approach? Discover the game-changing method to reclaim control without letting anger rule the day. Join us in this eye-opening video as we delve into a powerful lesson inspired by a very smart and intelligent woman in the Bible by the name of Abigail and other timeless figures from the Word of God. Don't miss out on this transformative insight. But before we go into that, subscribe to the channel and click on the notification bell icon by the side so you don't miss future uploads. Let me introduce you to Abigail. So who is Abigail? Let's go into the Word of God to find out. In the book of 1 Samuel chapter 25 verses 2-3, NIV, it says, "A certain man in Maon, who had property there at Carmel, was very wealthy. He had 1,000 goats and 3,000 sheep, which he was shearing in Carmel. His name was Nabal, and his wife's name was Abigail. She was an intelligent and beautiful woman, but her husband was surly and mean in his dealings. He was a Calebite." Do you hear that? Abigail was said to be not just a beautiful woman, but also an intelligent one. She had both the physical and the mental prowess. In the book of Proverbs chapter 31 verse 30, it says, "Charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised." A woman who fears the Lord is a woman of wisdom because Proverbs chapter 9 verse 10 says that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. So Abigail was as wise as she was beautiful. Perhaps this was the reason her husband was a success. You can't be a surly or a hot-tempered person and succeed in business for long unless you have someone who is covering your mess. Abigail must have been working behind the scenes to ensure that his business thrives. Though this is just a personal opinion, but I have my reasons for thinking in this pattern, which we will be looking at soon. When we continue to read that previous passage of 1 Samuel chapter 25, we will see some things there from verse 7. As the sun cast its golden glow over the rugged terrain of the wilderness, David's ears caught wind of a familiar sound, the rhythmic shearing of sheep. With a purposeful resolve, he dispatched 10 of his young men on a mission to Carmel, bearing his name as a token of goodwill. "Go forth," David instructed them, "and extend my heartfelt greetings to Nabal. Speak of health and prosperity to him and his household, and remind him of the peaceful coexistence we've shared in the past. Let him know of our integrity and generosity towards his shepherds during their stay at Carmel." With David's words echoing in their minds, his emissaries made their way to Nabal's abode, delivering the message with reverence and anticipation. Yet, as they stood in expectation, Nabal's response sliced through the air like a sharp gust of wind. "Who dares speak of this David?" Nabal's voice thundered with disdain. "Why should I lavish my provisions upon men of dubious origin? Let them fend for themselves like any other vagabonds roaming the land." So we can see Nabal's character finding expression in this passage. The men of David came with goodwill and were asking for a favor from him. If he didn't want to fulfill their wishes, there are better and calmer ways of doing it, but as it is with Nabal's character, he gave a very sharp and angry reply. As we previously read, he was what we read. He was a hot-tempered man. But there's something that we must know about anger. Anyone quick to anger tends to do foolish things. Now, you don't need to take my word for it. It says so in the Bible. In the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 7 verse 9, it says that, "Do not be quickly provoked in your spirit, for anger resides in the lap of fools." Now, this doesn't mean that to be angry is foolishness, but we must take note of the adverb in that verse which says, quickly. To be angry is okay, but not quickly getting angry. As children of God, it is not good to have a quick temper, for it is foolishness according to the Word of God. In James chapter 1 verse 19 NIV, it says, "My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry." Anger is not completely bad, but we should be slow to react to it. Because when we react slowly to anger, we have enough time to think through, and at the end of the day, when the adrenaline has subsided, we realize that the need to react the way we wanted to wasn't called for. And back to our story. With heavy hearts and a sense of urgency, David's men retraced their steps, their minds burdened with the weight of Nabal's harsh words. Upon returning, they wasted no time in recounting every detail to their leader. In response to the affront, David's resolve hardened like tempered steel. "Arm yourselves," he commanded his loyal followers. his voice carrying the gravity of impending action. Without hesitation, each man fastened his sword to his side, mirroring David's own preparation. With determination etched upon their faces, approximately 400 of David's warriors rallied behind their leader, ready to confront the brewing storm. Meanwhile, 200 remained behind to safeguard the precious supplies, their vigilance ensuring the logistical support for the impending endeavor. So David felt insulted and wasn't expecting to be treated by Nabal that way, considering the relationship he had built with his servants. And so, on he went with his men to, say hello to Nabal. Nabal was in trouble at this point, and Abigail, Nabal's wife, wasn't there to pipe things down or talk sense to her husband. In the rugged hills where the wind whispered secrets and the sun painted shadows, a servant rushed to Abigail, wife of the surly Nabal, with news that set her heart pounding. "David's messengers came from the wilderness," he exclaimed, urgency lacing his words. "But instead of welcome, they faced insults from our master." With a sense of impending doom hanging heavy in the air, the servant recounted David's kindness to them in the past. "They were like guardians," he explained, "shielding us day and night while we tended our flock. But disaster looms over our master and his household. Nabal's wickedness knows no bounds." Abigail's mind raced as she absorbed the dire situation. With swift resolve, she gathered provisions: bread, wine, sheep, grain, and delicacies, loading them onto donkeys without a moment to spare. "Go ahead," she instructed her servants, determination etched into every word. "I will follow." As Abigail rode her donkey through a rugged mountain ravine, she encountered the very men sent to confront her husband. David's frustration was palpable as he lamented the ingratitude he faced. "It's been in vain," he declared. "I've watched over Nabal's property, only to be repaid with evil." But then, as if a beacon of hope emerged from the shadows, Abigail approached. With grace and humility, she prostrated herself before David, her plea for mercy and understanding echoing in the mountain air. "Forgive Nabal's folly," she implored, "and accept this humble offering. May God shield you from bloodshed and grant you victory." David's response was one of gratitude and relief, praising the Lord for sending Abigail to prevent bloodshed. With a solemn vow, he accepted her gifts and bid her return in peace, her words of wisdom and courage leaving an indelible mark on his heart. Phew, that was a close one for Nabal. Abigail was able to calm David down and persuade him not to go ahead with what he wanted to do to Nabal. The book of Proverbs, chapter 15, verse 1, says that a gentle answer turns away wrath. Abigail's account has taught us that the best way to settle an argument, or in other words, turn away wrath, is to answer or reply gently. If you answer in the same manner and tone as the other person, you will not settle the problem at all. Anger is a very contagious emotion, and if one is not careful, he or she can get caught in the trap. As we can see from Abigail, she spoke gently to David, and because of her gentle words, David was at peace and accepted her gifts. Confronting someone who is venting their frustrations can be challenging, and it's natural to feel tempted to respond in kind. Yet to overcome this temptation, we can draw inspiration from Abigail's example. Firstly, we must empathize with the other person's perspective. By putting ourselves in their shoes and understanding their feelings, we realize that their reactions may be justified. This understanding enables us to approach the situation calmly and rationally. Just as Abigail recognized David's rightful anger, we too can seek to comprehend the motivations behind our friend or partner's behavior. This practice requires patience, perseverance, and spiritual guidance. Secondly, humility is key. When faced with rudeness, our pride may urge us to retaliate. However, humility dictates that we remain composed and assess the situation wisely. The scriptures affirm that God favors the humble, urging us to exercise restraint even in the face of provocation. Thirdly, diplomacy is essential. Seeking common ground and occasionally compromising are vital for fostering healthy relationships. It's not solely about our desires. We must also consider the other person's perspective and be willing to find a mutually beneficial solution. Lastly, we must consider the long-term consequences of our actions. While venting anger may provide momentary satisfaction, it often leads to regret. Reflecting on a personal experience, I recall a situation where I chose not to confront someone who had taken my seat. Despite initial discomfort, my decision garnered respect and admiration from others, ultimately fostering a positive outcome. In essence, by following Abigail's example of empathy, humility, diplomacy, and foresight, we can navigate conflicts with grace and integrity, ultimately strengthening our relationships and fostering mutual respect. Now, you might say that this does not apply to the incident I talked about at the beginning of this video. You might say that Abigail is not the one caught in the misunderstanding. Nabal is, and he is the one who's supposed to be doing what his wife is doing right now. But let me assure you that these principles also work in similar scenarios as mentioned in the beginning. Let me transport you to a moment of tension and resolution that unfolded in the heart of my own home. Picture this. My wife strides into my study, her demeanor tinged with unmistakable anger. Intrigued and slightly apprehensive, I inquire about the cause of her frustration, only to discover that I'm the target of her ire. According to her, I've been neglecting household chores, essentially shirking my responsibilities entirely. Her diatribe culminates with an exasperated declaration of being sick and tired of my supposed inaction. Now here's the twist. The overwhelming majority of her accusations were patently false. Yet, rather than meeting her fury with my own, I embarked on a journey of empathy and introspection. Yes, I felt the sting of anger, but I refrained from a knee-jerk reaction. Instead, I paused, allowing myself the space to dissect the situation. As I delved deeper, a crucial realization dawned upon me. My wife's demeanor wasn't merely about chores. It was symptomatic of a deeper struggle with postpartum depression, a plight not uncommon among new mothers. How did I navigate this emotional minefield without escalating tensions? Patience and understanding became my guiding lights. I gently probed her accusations, unraveling each falsehood with a series of pointed questions aimed at revealing the truth. But before anything else, I extended a sincere apology, a gesture that served as a balm, soothing her agitation and priming her to listen. And lo and behold, after a mere 20 minutes of dialogue, understanding dawned, diffusing the brewing storm and restoring harmony to our home. In hindsight, had I succumbed to my initial impulse, chaos would have reigned supreme. But through empathy, patience, and a willingness to listen, we transformed conflict into connection, emerging stronger and more united than before. In conclusion, dear viewers, the lesson from Abigail's story is clear. When faced with anger or misunderstanding, we have a choice. We can either fan the flames of conflict or extinguish them with the soothing waters of empathy and understanding. So I urge you, the next time you find yourself in a heated situation, take a page from Abigail's playbook. Empathize with the other person's perspective, approach with humility, employ diplomacy, and consider the long-term consequences of your actions. By doing so, you not only diffuse tension, but also foster deeper connections and mutual respect. Now, armed with this wisdom, I challenge you to put it into practice. The next time you encounter anger or misunderstanding, remember Abigail's gentle response and strive to emulate her example. Together, let's create a world where conflicts are resolved with grace and understanding, one interaction at a time. And remember, if you found this video insightful, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on future uploads. Let's journey towards a world where understanding triumphs over anger, one step at a time. Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay blessed and keep spreading love and understanding.